especially I would say countries that are more viable, or what you say, you know, and they are getting pissed, to say the least, you know. Yeah.
Good straightforward comment there. Susan.
Professor Johansson, could you confirm, talked about long-term effects, you did mention the skin effects that can occur. Can you give us some more examples of things that we could recognise in our children or maybe ourselves?
Well, that's very, very important that you bring that up, because for instance, if you look in Sweden, and we have already heard the same here, if you look on the general health parameters, the truth is that health is deteriorating. More or less anything you look at has a deterioration per year, and some are slowly increasing, but some are very rapidly increasing, like asthma, allergy, over-sensitivities to food, etc. And that has become a learning problem, because time with the kids to actually protect them from, you know, nuts and whatever they could encounter in the food, etc. So it has become a problem, actually. And also, of course, some of these effects regarding, for instance, impaired short-term memory, impaired concentration capacity, so on. It could be hard. It's just after some years you do so well. And the question then would be, who are you going to blame? So the response, because after all you cannot really ask parents to be more than parents. Just to be a parent is a full-time job, and they shouldn't be politicians, scientists and policymakers and so on at the same time. They should be able to really trust their elected officials. And I know I'm sorry to say that, but politicians are found with that so frustrated, and you see that in the number of people going to the voting ballots, so we say it's decreasing longer because the officials don't give a toss about them.
Gentleman here. Come back here.
Professor, some years ago I was involved in various anti-mask protests, and we found that if members of the press asked us where we got our perception that masks might be dangerous, we used to say that our objections were based on a study of a particular report by Leaf Salford from European University.
Yeah, there was one of these studies here. Yeah.
This seemed very effective in causing the masks not to come and people not coming to see us with cloth. It was very effective. It didn't seem to happen. I was going to ask you, of all the myriad papers that you talk about, which is the one, if we want to argue the case, that would be most convincing and where the proof would be most conclusive that there is now? Okay.
That's in a way easy to answer in kind of a coward way. I would say take the bioinitiative report, and not only take it, give it to anyone that is opposing you, page by page, sentence by sentence, clearly tell you what is wrong. Because all the 600 pages and even more must be wrong if you should allow the mask to be there, the Wi-Fi system to be in the school and so on. And I have asked opponents exactly that questions many times. No, well, on page 419 at least there is something wrong. The problem for them is that so it has been scrutinized by every editorial board of every scientific journal in which they are. That's like shattering the foundations of quality assessment in science, and then they will be able to even do that. It's like questioning the basic laws of a country, something like this, you know. And that's very, but of course, and that's interesting with Salford's paper that I showed you from 1997, because you often hear that, well, that study is not replicated and so on. It needs a replication before we can really see if it's good or not. And the paper by Salford, they are number 16 in a row of studies. And actually, if they would be such a Nobel Prize for that finding, they would not get it. It would be an electron microscopist who found this effect already 10 years